This episode is brought to you by Leo Bato and Associates, ang realtor na patok.
When buying or selling your home, call Leo Bato. He has years of experience in real estate, showing honesty and integrity in every transaction. He's a person you can definitely trust. So book your appointment with Leo Bato today by giving him a call at 818-648-4837 or by visiting him on the web at www.leobato.realtor.
This episode is brought to you by ABA E-Services.
And the podcast will begin in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Ladies and gentlemen, live at Paco's Place, how about a big round of applause, Mr. Zak St. John. Don't worry. In post, it'll feel like 100 people clapping their hands, really.
Good. Good.
How are you, Zach?
Dude, what's happening, Paco?
Not much, but then again, this is all about you. This episode's about you. I'm really very excited to have you here. Actually, when we first communicated via email and all that, we didn't know what to make of it. We felt humbled, flattered, excited, everything else. And only because Michael and I are drummers, and you're a drummer. I mean, JJ's a keyboard player, so F that. No, just kidding. I mean, we can tolerate that. So, but you know, the fact that we have a drummer in the studio is special to us. So I'm kind of partial toward that because drummers are nice guys.
We are nice guys.
Yeah.
And thank you for having me.
Thank you for being here. Straight to the point, how long have you been playing the drums?
Pretty much my entire life. My father was a guitar player, musician professionally. And for some reason, they used to put headphones on my mom's belly when I was in there. They played music all the time and just naturally took to it. So from like age 2, pots and pans, and my first drum kit was when I was 3 or 4, and then still playing to this day. So since 2, and I'm now 38.
Why not guitars?
They tried, and I tried. I mean, I have guitars, I can play guitar, but it was always more difficult, and drums was just something that was easy and fun. I loved it. I always loved sitting next to the drummer, like on the stage or in rehearsal, whoever was playing, and lots of, my dad was fairly successful, so I got to see some really cool drummers.
Right.
And that was just always it. I loved it. Everything about it, like how they sounded, how they looked. Yeah, so.
Okay, so growing up, 2 years old, you were banging pots and pans. When did you officially become a drummer?
Officially, like professionally?
No, like amateurly, like started playing real drums with people.
Oh, I mean, the first pictures and shows I did were with my father. Probably 6 or 7 on stage playing with a band.
Do you remember your first song?
I do. There were 2 that I learned. It was Misty Mountain Hop by Led Zeppelin, and it's a Robert Plant song, Tall Cool One by Robert Plant. It was on an 80s album of his, like one of his first
like
solo
a Honey
albums.
Drippers kind of thing? No, or just the solo?
Just his solo, just a cool 80s song. And I grew up with like that kind of music. That's what he loves. So that's what I was first listening to, was like 70s and 80s rock. I was definitely a child of
So
that.
more of like Led
Zeppelin, classic rock. I mean,
like,
kind of the whole spectrum.
Foreigner,
of course.
right?
Boston. Journey.
Yes. Oh my
And
God.
then in the 80s, it was like, I love like Whitesnake and
Yeah.
anything like that. And like, we were talking about some 80s music just a little while ago. And so anything in that genre was what I grew up listening to. And like, my dad was specific. So he's like, this is what you need to listen to.
So your dad was more of like a mentor also.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Is he still around right now?
He is not.
I'm sorry.
He passed away a few years ago.
But during your time together with your dad, was that your bonding moment?
Oh yeah, I mean, we played until I moved out to California after college, and I played with him up until that point.
So you went to college.
Yeah, I went to college in Wisconsin.
Finished college.
Yes,
Interesting.
finished college.
Why?
But why did I go to college? Well, my father went to college as well, but he just went to like a 2-year technical school
Yeah.
kind of thing. Got a degree, but growing up and seeing everything that he did on a daily basis, because it was his career.
Right. It's what paid the bills, right?
It's what paid the bills. And I saw all the difficulty he had with certain aspects of being a musician. And there's so much business that goes into basically, you're an entrepreneur of your own company. You're the business owner. And there's so many things that I saw him struggle with, and I always thought he could do that better. And I learned a lot of lessons, and he taught me a lot about it. And in fact, my father and mother didn't want me to be a musician. They tried their best to persuade me to do anything but. I was on the path to be a veterinarian at one point, like a serious path, because I love animals. And that just didn't take. And then I went to college, obviously, and I studied a lot of things. It was a liberal arts college. So I kind of bounced around until I landed on a business degree.
Okay.
And
more of like marketing management or business management?
it was administration. So it was
business administration.
It was kind of an all-encompassing degree, which is exactly what I wanted. So marketing, communications, and at my college you had to take a good amount of math and science to get your degree as well.
Yeah.
So it was the process of applying yourself, and things like calculus, which math didn't come the easiest to me, but I had to get an A in it, and there were many long nights of just wearing headphones and studying calculus, and things like that are what pushed me to be a musician. And my work ethic to this day are, have a goal, set out to accomplish that goal over, a period of time, and there's going to be setbacks, but push through, and you're, as long as you can have that process of learning and applying yourself. And I learned a lot of lessons on sports teams as well. That kind of same thing, like working with your teammates and winning and losing and all that stuff. I mean, it's truly why I've had what success I've had to this day are because of applying myself in college and struggling and having to really work hard and have roadblocks, and then like that, the teamwork kind of a scenario, and that really was helpful.
Critical thinking.
Yeah. Absolutely.
That's what you learn in college, really.
Absolutely.
People think I'm not gonna make use of this physics course or this microbiology or this calculus, but no. It's the critical thinking part, like everything that you said.
Yeah.
It's how to deal with all those things.
Yeah.
How to make decisions, how to present.
Yeah. And when you're in school, like there's always friends that are maybe leaning towards partying, or maybe school comes easy for them and they're like, I'm never going to use calculus. When am I going to apply this in life? And I always was like, well, it's not so much that I'm going to use this in life. Like we don't really use calculus on a daily basis. It's having to have,
the discipline,
of learning it and having an assignment, accomplishing it, taking a test and an exam, having that pressure and that stress and staying up late. And, like it's all that I applied to my career every day. Yeah.
So when you graduate, while you were in college, not when you graduated, while you were in college, was the music in the back burner, or was it parallel to you going to college or through college?
It was parallel. I've been playing since, like I said, like 5-6 years old. So I was in many bands there in Wisconsin, originals, covers, kind of the same thing.
While in school.
While in school, yeah. So I was able to drive from school, or even during like the week, I would finish. School was first, but then I would go drive to gigs or sessions or whatever was going on. And
I'm gonna cut you there.
Yeah,
because people in the Philippines, and there are people in the Philippines watching our podcast. The drummers have it good in the Philippines. The drummers in the Philippines go to a gig. The drum kit is there. All they need to do is set up the cymbals, the kick pedal, and the snare drum. Not here in the States. When you said driving to a gig, you're hauling your own kit.
Absolutely.
Tell the audience about the experience of hauling your kit, because I experienced that the first time in the Philippines. Since we were part of a very huge band, we had roadies. The first time I got here, I was culture shocked. But I want them to hear it from you. What's a typical drummer like doing cover gigs at a bar?
Okay, so oh man, there's a whole lot I could talk
Yes.
about with this subject.
Yeah, I mean, this is your episode.
And that's a really good. I've never talked about this before in anything I've ever done. This is great. I'm super into this question. So, we'll take the Wisconsin experience. I loved gear, and I was a drummer, but I always kind of took on the leadership role in bands. So I was kind of like the tour manager
Yes.
or production manager, and my dad drove a van, so I got a van, obviously, and I fixed it up nice. It was a conversion van, and I like built the back so it was like the cargo hold. And I always loved road cases, so like I had the whole thing, and even then I put
Stenciled,
I
right?
put my stencil on it, so like I'd show up, and I mean in my mind I had a bigger goal of moving out here and doing that as a thing, and like also branding and marketing was in my mind. So lots of gear, packed it in the van, and like you'd show up, and I'd always have beautiful, immaculate gear. I took great care of it, lots of pride in it, but it's a full thing. Bass drum, cymbals, hardware. Oh.
Yeah, how heavy that?
Yeah,
Oh my god!
you know what I mean? Going downstairs and clubs you play,
Yeah.
upstairs, downstairs,
And then where to put the boxes or the cases or the bags once those drum kits are
right?
set up.
Yeah. So that was Wisconsin, and I definitely did not have roadies. then.
Okay, that was Wisconsin on a summer night. We're not even talking about winter in Wisconsin where now your hands are freezing, the gears are the same weight and all that.
Yeah, you have to when you bring it into a club. You can't take it out of the cases. Guitars and basses too.
Yeah.
It has to sit in the cases so it acclimates.
Yes.
From 20 below to
Yes.
whatever it's 75 in the club or whatever.
Yep.
So there's in Wisconsin, being a gigging musician is some of the most respect I will give anybody, because I had to do it, and like to this day I know guys that do it 4 or 5 days a week. I mean, every week, they work their butts off, and they travel all over. In Wisconsin, cities are not as close as they are here. Like LA, you can play LA, but you can play Burbank, and then you can play Orange County, and you can play here in the.
That's like 20 minutes, 30 minutes drive. And,
Yeah, so like
easy.
But in Wisconsin, it's like an hour, 2 hours
Yes.
to get to cities.
Yes.
So, and when there's a snowstorm and you have to get to the gig, I've never canceled a gig yet.
Wow.
So
Jinx.
we were right in time too.
Drummers, yeah.
Drummers stick together, right? That was awesome.
I'll drink to that.
Cheers to that. So I'm kind of getting off topic a little bit.
No.
but
This
yeah.
is topic.
And then out here. So as I was saying, I'm a gear nut. I love collecting. I love drums. I love everything about it, like every aspect of it. So I have a huge nerd. And I have 30 plus drum kits at this point. 50 or 60 snares, hundreds of cymbals.
Where are they?
They're all over. I'm lucky enough to have a house, and I did a conversion like this. I have a fairly large garage that I converted to my studio.
Right.
And that around the studio are like, it's lined with cases and drums and of all kinds. Vintage drums especially are what I'm into now.
Nice.
So I have just everything you can ask for. So
Can I cut in right now?
Yeah, cut in.
I just sold my Steve Jordan snare drum.
Ah.
I got it for $160. As of this taping, it's on eBay right now for $1,200. It was just sitting in storage. A friend of mine wanted it. I just gave it to him for $500.
That's a good friend move. That's
Right?
great. Yeah.
And now I see the snare drum. It looks so pristine. It looks so nice. And I'm like, that's value right there.
Yeah.
Okay, back to you. I just wanted to
No, that's
share.
great. That's a great snare drum. Yeah, I
It
think what
is.
is it? That's a 6.5 by 13. I think.
Oh,
Yeah.
what a nerd.
I am, like I said, super nerd. Yeah. So I have lots of drums, and I have drums all over the city. There's some in storage and in road cases. There's some in Nashville. There's some that are traveling to Europe as we speak. There's some in Wisconsin yet. So there's kits everywhere, drums everywhere.
60
What's that?
60 kits.
60 snare drums, maybe a little
60
more,
snare
but
drums.
30 or so drum kits, depending. I'm always buying and selling too. Like,
Okay.
if I find something better, I'll sell it.
Right.
Like usually I fix it up too, so I'll get it like session ready. And there's certain things you do to make a drum set that is specific to doing sessions. So you kind of hot rod it in ways that I've learned. And so that's kind of what I do. But there's a kit in my car right now. I keep a kit in my car for like casual gigs. But today I did a music video, and so there was a separate kit that was transported there that I didn't have to carry it, thankfully. So it was just there waiting for me. But I also have the kit that I'm going to use this week for gigs, and then. Yeah, there's always equipment. There's always equipment to move. And I just had back surgery maybe 12 months ago, about a year ago.
You're still moving your own kit up to now?
So now I have a roadie pretty much all the time. And
Good for you.
My poor girlfriend, Kim, has been now, she's been burdened with having to carry my gear more often when we're just, going out. But she loves it. She kind of loves that part of it.
Shout out to you, Kim.
Shout out to Kim on this, for sure.
Now, I'm going to segue and so that we can talk about everything else. Let's talk about the Drum Doctors.
Yeah.
How are you involved with it, and what was the foundation to establish the Drum Doctors?
Great question. So I moved here, would have been a little over 16 years ago now, from Wisconsin. And even though I was playing live gigs and, that sort of thing on all genres of music, this being a session player and being creative in that aspect and having the ability to play to a click track or in a studio and kind of know what microphones work with drums and how to tune drums, and that was just always something that I loved and came somewhat naturally to me. And I wanted to get into the session scene here in LA, which is pretty much impossible to do if you're just coming off the boat from wherever it is, right? It's a very hard scene to crack into because there's so many amazingly talented musicians and drummers and percussionists. So I was like, what's a cheat code to get into that world? So I did research, and I had some friends recommend me, like, well, there's these places there, they do they cartage and teching. I was like, okay, I got it. That's not really something I ever saw myself doing necessarily, but let me check it out. So I sent out a resume to all of them, and I went and visited them, and I went over, it's Drum Doctors is here in Glendale. So I went over to Drum Doctors, and I met Ross. Yeah, it would have been like 16 years ago.
Wow.
And we hit it off right away. I said the right things, thankfully, and he likes people from the Midwest especially. We tend to be hard workers and dependable.
Yeah.
So Midwest is like, Wisconsin,
working
Michigan,
class, yeah.
Working class. So he was like, okay, cool, let's give it a shot. And it worked out. And I mean, that's...
So in other words, the interview went something like nerd talk.
Yeah.
Gear talk. As minuscule and as articulate as you can possibly go.
Yeah. Which is exactly what it was. And we just hit it off, and I respected him, and I didn't know a lot about him. I'd never heard of him. It wasn't something I'd ever, I was like, cartage. I didn't know that word cartage, which means just like transporting equipment for people. And once I realized what drummers were part of the Drum Doctor family, it was Josh Freese, Jim Keltner.
Nice, no?
Abel Boreal Jr.
Wow.
I mean, the list goes on and on.
Were you familiar with them at the time?
I absolutely was. The specific session drummers, especially Jim Keltner.
Oh, yeah.
He is probably one of the greatest drummers of all time. And most people don't know who he is. But he's
one of the most recorded drummers. Also.
Absolutely. Yes. Yeah. So the fact that I was like, wait, I get to meet these guys and watch them in the studio and learn from them and learn from Ross what I didn't know, which that's the thing is like, you never know what you don't know. So I'm always absorbing. And the fact that I had that opportunity was amazing to me. So I jumped in, and
plus it gets your foot in the door.
And that's what it got my foot in the door. You get to meet engineers, producers, artists, everybody that is in that world. And the fact that you have Josh Freese and Abel Boreal Jr. and Jim Keltner as mentors and friends, and I mean, it's priceless. Who
was the first drummer you cartaged?
It was I don't remember who the drummer was. I couldn't tell you his name, but it was for an artist, Ryan Adams.
I know Ryan.
So
Adams.
it was a session for Ryan Adams at Sunset Sound in Hollywood. I remember
Ryan was there.
Ryan. It was.
Wow.
I mean, again, I wish I could remember the drummer's name, but it was his drummer. It wasn't like a session drummer. It was his drummer on the gig, and it was a 1980 Gretsch Maple kit, USA Maple.
Who requested it? The producer, the engineer, the drummer, Or you guys, or Ross just brought it in and said that?
Usually, we'll sometimes it'll be requested of like specifically they want, but most of the time it's we want this kind of a sound. Give us what will get us this sound. So
Nice.
they're asking for that advice. So that's what it was. And Ross was like, "This is the kit. Zach, take it over there. Maybe 4 or 5 snare drums, specific cymbals that are going to work for the session." And
Who tunes the drum kit? You or them?
This episode is brought to you by Leo Bato and Associates, ang realtor na patok.
we tune it. Yeah. So it would have been Ross and myself are the 2 primary drum tuners at Drum Doctor.
So can you imagine, like, tell me if I'm wrong or right, when you go into a studio, all these artists, producers, engineers, musicians are there. You're setting it up. And these are not snobbish people. You're having conversations with them while you're setting up.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you're building your network.
I mean, yeah, it was. It's not like you go in going, "Oh, I'm gonna schmooze with these cats." It's like it's just an organic thing where you go in and like sometimes you run into people that are difficult, but usually everybody's really nice and
Yes.
welcoming and like
Yes.
people want to teach and show, because they're proud of what they're doing. So it makes it really easy to be like, "Oh, why do you do that with that microphone on that drum, or why do we have the drums in this part of the room, or watching a drummer with these parts. Oh, how come for your chart? I see you made your chart in a specific way. Why do you do that instead of like writing it all out?" And like all the little things of being a professional in that setting and the communication and how to be cool and like the delicate like eggshells that you can walk on to make sure you don't rock the boat. And a lot of it is just being aware. And
So pretty much you were paying your dues again.
oh yeah, I've moved more drums and equipment and tuned more drums than anyone can imagine. I mean, Ross obviously has me beat on this one, but I'm not in as much as I used to be. But when we were really busy, we were doing 3 or 4 sessions a day with huge, massive artists. Like just going back to the Grammys this year was like I went through like the top 10, like all the winners. And we did all those albums. We were the drums and provided, which is a small part of the process, but it's still something that we're proud of. And you're like, we're on those recordings with our drums and we tuned it, and so.
When did you start thinking, I'm not just gonna cartage drums, I'm gonna be the guy behind the drum kit?
Like it was never a goal to. It wasn't like I enjoyed hauling equipment, but it was definitely. I knew that if I kept working at it and I kept, like I said, like learning in school, it's the same thing. And I applied myself. I have the goal of transitioning to being a known studio drummer and getting the call, and I knew it was going to take time, but it was worth it. And you're learning through the whole way, so it's just like going to school. I'm like, okay.
So there's patience, there's a process, everything.
Oh yeah.
So you were just reapplying the mindset.
Same mindset, that exact thing. Yeah, full circle. Yeah, obviously. Just the same thing I was applying in college. It was the same thing out here.
So how long after joining the Drum Doctors did a break come your way?
I worked really hard and I jumped in and I just started meeting people. It was probably a year where then I was starting to get, it's kind of new people, and Zach plays drums and he knows how to tune drums. I was like, okay, let's bring him in, And when
how did it feel?
I mean, it was exciting. Like I never,
no nervousness, nothing.
No, I've never had the nervousness. It's always just been excitement and like a challenge. I like accepting challenges and getting to work with people. So, and the only time I've ever been nervous is like when I would be back in Wisconsin and my mom would be like, "Oh, Zach, hey, Aunt Carol and Aunt Adele wanna, can you play your drums for them? Can you go upstairs and play your drum kit for them?" And I'd be like, "I don't want to, Mom. I don't want to play for my family," or like at a family event, like, "Oh, your father's gonna play some songs for the family. Can you play drums? Your grandma wants to see you play, Zach." And I'd be like, "I don't want, like playing to my family and a smaller like 10 people is the only time I've ever like I don't like this." But but other than that, I love it.
You have siblings?
No siblings, only child.
Oh you got to play for the family.
Yeah, I knew I had to. I just didn't want to.
How does it feel being an only child?
Loved it. Wouldn't have it any other way.
Really?
Really.
Do you have kids?
No kids.
Are you planning to have kids?
Not planning on it.
Dang.
Yeah, we're both okay with it. Kim and I both.
What's up with you being a cul-de-sac, a human cul-de-sac?
I don't know. That's a good question. I mean, I love kids. It's just in my career and in Kim's career, we're both very busy.
What does Kim do, if you don't mind?
She's in sales.
Okay.
That's
busy.
She's very busy. So when she's in sales, like she's in Arizona as we speak on a business trip, and I'm always in and out. I mean, I'm gone more than I am home.
Right.
And just being like seeing my dad sort of give up on his dream because he had me, and I know he didn't regret it. Like they love me.
You were the dream.
I turned into the dream. They wanted to have a child. They always did. They wanted to have a boy, and I was that boy.
That's the dream.
That was his. He wanted that more than pursuing being a musician, and he did pursue it for half the time. But he lived in San Francisco for a good majority of my childhood. But then he's like, I want to be home with my child, and I knew that coming out here, my focus is completely on my career. That's where it is. Like that's my everything is drumming and music. So I couldn't give it an honest, complete 100% shot of having a child, and luckily I found Kim who was the same goal. But all my friends are having kids now, and
hypothetically, if one of you decide to have kids, how is that gonna work?
Hypothetically, I mean,
that's a conversation, right?
That's a whole conversation. We're so against it. I mean, do you have kids?
5.
You have 5 kids?
Yeah.
Wow. Should I just take one?
Yeah.
Try it out?
I mean,
can I rent one?
And 3 dogs.
The dogs thing. We had 4 dogs at one point. We're down to 1 now, but
I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's part of
I know, right?
the sad reality of it. But yeah, I'm okay with having dogs.
The reason why I have dogs now is because the kids are gonna leave. I mean, I have 2 teenagers. I have a 26-year-old son, 2 teenagers who kind of don't know mom and dad anymore. At 14, they really gain amnesia.
Oh no!
And then I have my 7-year-old daughter, who now is so into Demon Slayer as we're doing this taping. And so they all have their own little world, right? And so me and my wife were like, we have all these kids, but they used to be all over us, and now they're not. Dogs. Because dogs are going to be all over you.
All over you.
All the time.
Yeah.
You call them, they're there.
Yeah.
I watch TV with the dogs.
Yeah.
The kids don't like to watch TV with me because it's either we're watching their program, which I don't like, but the dogs will watch my shows.
You're absolutely right.
Dogs.
So
now that you and Kim don't want kids, you're okay with that. You're pushing 40 as of this taping.
Mm-hmm.
Is life where you want it to be?
It is. I mean, I think everybody has aspirations to be further than where they are, but that is what drives me every day. I'm motivated by that to just keep pushing, and like people around me inspire me and motivate me to work harder. When I see other drummers or other musicians like, oh, they have that opportunity, I'm just like, oh, that just drives me. Like I'm up usually around 5 a.m., 5:30 is when my day starts. I go to the gym because being in shape and being fit and having stamina is super important. And just for the mental aspect of it, it really helps me. And I love just being up before everybody else is and before the sun rises to have that jump start on everybody else. It's just, I love to start my day off like that. And I work out 6 days a week. I have 1 day off where we just, sleep in and hang out and go to breakfast or whatever if I happen to be home. And then after that, usually I'll go into either a session, or if I have something at Drum Doctors on the day, I'll go and I'll take care of that. And I'm usually there for a couple hours. And then by around noon, I have to get to either rehearsal or a recording session of my own, or I have the studio at my house. I'll have to go there for whatever songs people have sent to me virtually.
Yeah.
Which was, that's what got me through the pandemic, which
right?
It was, without having my studio at my house, it would have been very difficult. But because of that, I was able to work more. I had so much work. I had a backlog of songs. I couldn't even get to them. It was coming in so quickly, which was wonderful. It was I couldn't believe it how creative everybody got during the pandemic. But not to get too off topic.
No. That's topic right there.
And then by nighttime, I'm going off to a rehearsal or a live gig, and that's kind of my normal day. So, or like today, I was at that music video until like later afternoon. Went home quickly to say hi to the puppy, grab some food, and then I came here. So my day's usually around 5 a.m. till 9 or 10 at night, and I love it. I absolutely love it. And life is about balance. So there's definitely times where I make sure I'm attending to Kim and my own, your
own needs,
my own needs, being relaxed and taking time off, and or just sitting down and watching a movie with the dog, as you said. So there is that. You have to have balance. I'm not a complete maniac, but on a daily basis, that's where I'm at, to just get that goal of, okay, I'm not the number one best drummer in the world yet, but I'm gonna be, and that's the mindset.
Do you read books?
Yes, mainly music books. I used to read a lot more in school, but now it's just music based,
like biographies and all that stuff,
magazines, biographies, anything that has to do with music. Yeah.
So these books, these recreational stuff that you do, the backlog for virtual sessions that you've been doing, these are all opportunities and self how do you say it, self maintenance, self development skills,
yeah,
right?
Absolutely.
All these stories that you've been telling me, I never heard any excuse why you wouldn't do anything. You're more, even when I asked you about kids, like there's an answer and not an excuse.
Right.
There are people out there watching, and all they have is, if I only had this, I would have done this. If I only had this, I would have done this. You're coming off across as someone who would do things to get what they want more in life.
Right.
We talked about mindset. I'd like to pick your brains out. How do you see situations? Do you see them as problems, or do you see them as potential opportunities?
There's always a way to, so say you have so you're saying if I have a problem, how do I address it?
Maybe,
So,
or maybe it's not a problem. Maybe it's just a situation.
Just a
Maybe-
situation?
I have two bands. They have two. I have two bands. They double booked. Now I have to split myself in two. That could be a problem, or that could be an opportunity.
I love the scenario. That's a good scenario because that happens a lot.
Yeah.
Scheduling is a big part of my life, is trying to make sure, because I play for 20 plus artists and bands.
Right.
Not everybody plays at the same time, but that can get difficult of trying to cross communicate.
Especially post-pandemic.
Yes, things are blowing up right now.
Right.
Right. So that's a good scenario. I don't like passing up on gigs ever. If I can fit every gig in somehow, drive 90 miles an hour to get to the other side of town to do something, I will make sure I do it. Or like if I can finagle a schedule, that's always goal one, is can I make this happen, and will the people I'm working with be okay with that? Okay, maybe they're not. So then in my mind, I love helping people around me. My network of friends and coworkers are very important to me. So in that case, that's where I go to, I got some good friends, people I trust, like other drummers that I can rely on. I trust. Right. I know they're going to show up and they're going to not make me look bad, and they're going to make themselves proud as well, and not let my artist or client down. So in that case, I'm like, I can help my friend out, get them a gig, and start to get them working. Maybe they can make some connections as well, which makes me feel good. I'm able to still make sure my client's happy. I get to go do a gig as well. Right. So then everybody's happy. So it's about, kind of paying it forward in times like that. So that in that scenario, that's how I go about it.
Any when do you think diminishing returns happen with regard to that? Because you can only take so many gigs until something has to give. If you're outsourcing to friends,
right,
that's an opportunity for a friend to fall in love with a client, and now they're together.
Right.
Now they're doing the tour, and you're looking over, and there are so many things you can handle only at so many times. You're okay with that, or is that something that you've also considered in your head?
This might come off as arrogant, as I don't mean it to be, but in my mind, like my mindset is, it's difficult to be a better drummer than me and to be a better person in a working environment, and I pride myself on trying to be as professional as possible. So in my mind, it's going to be difficult to do a job better than I am, and my clients and artists are usually going to want to have me be the drummer for them, but are happy to have one of my friends do it. But at the same time, I trust the people that I'm recommending to. If I want to give them a gig, that's one thing. Or if like the artist is like, you know what, you're too busy for us, and we love you, Zach, but do you have somebody you could recommend to us to take over for you? I'm more than like, that's me just being professional and making sure that I'm doing the right thing and making somebody happy. Because if you get selfish and you're like, well, I'm upset that you don't want me to be the drummer anymore, you can't take it personally, because the cliche saying is it's just business, but really
Yes.
it is just business. And sometimes in order to make sure that somebody else's career and livelihood keeps going, you have to make sacrifices, but it should never be something that you look down upon. It's because you're so busy that, I mean, that's a great problem to have.
Now, that was a setup question, because my next question is... By the way, you didn't come across as arrogant.
7 inches. Oh, no.
I hope that's the size of your smaller thumb, right?
That's the depth of my snare drum.
What an odd size, 7.
Yeah.
Who goes with odd sizes? Gretsch does.
I mean, lots of drum companies do.
7?
7 inches. Yeah, that's I mean, 6.5 is the standard.
No,
but-
no, not depth, but the radius.
Oh, the radius.
Yeah.
Oh,
Is there a 7-inch drum head? Or is it?
I don't know if I've ever seen a 7. That's a good question. There's probably been a 7-inch drum head made, just because drum companies tend to be
Right.
creative sometimes.
Uh-huh.
But it's usually even numbers.
Yeah.
In that case, 6, 8, 10,
Yeah.
12.
Or 14 or whatever.
There's been 11-inch drum heads. I've seen those.
I've seen those.
Especially older drums tend to be like when you have calfskin on it. That's usually about 11 inches.
Yeah.
It's like 11.25 inches or
Woo!
something. But yeah, so
Okay. I was having a conversation with good drummers, and I to your point, to piggyback on what you just said, because what you said is something that I've been preaching, but I want people to hear it from you. Everybody can play drums, but not everybody can be you. That's why I said it wasn't arrogant when you said what you said, because something has to set you apart. And me, personally, pet peeve, I've seen awesome drummers who play better than you and me. But if a deaf person was to watch them perform, they wouldn't be able to tell the difference between that awesome drummer and the drummer who just learned to play drums 2 days ago. Because posture-wise, visually speaking and all that stuff, they're just... It's all... There's no visuals, nothing. They sound good,
Yeah.
but what if I'm deaf? Can't hear you. I mean, you look good. You play the part. You're not... I mean, no offense to other people playing drums, but you work hard, go to the gym, really zen yourself out to be able to go to a gig and really not only play the part, but look the part. Can we talk about the effort that goes into that? Because you can't just say, I'm the best at what I do. You mentioned a while ago that you go to the gym, you do this and all that stuff. But then again, you're investing in yourself. Please emphasize the importance of investing in yourself. Look, appearance, skill, congeniality.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Can we talk about, can you piece by piece all those things and share it with the people who think that they are all that? But it's more than just skills, right?
Yes.
That's all I wanted to say. But
Yeah. No, that's so. Well, we're gonna be here a couple hours tonight, aren't we?
why not? I mean,
Yeah.
yeah. The whiskey's there.
This is great. Yeah. Could use a refill.
Give it to Mike.
This is a great question. So, when we were younger, you couldn't go on YouTube and just access any drummer or TikTok or Instagram and watch drummers from around the world and realize that the talent pool and how good people are, and also players of all musicians and artists and or whatever your interest is. You can go on any form of social media or the internet and look up people and learn from them. So everybody's piggybacking on each other to see, oh wow, he can do that. Well, I'm going to try to work and do that.
This episode is brought to you by ABBA e-Services.
That's really a benefit to people these days is being able to visually see and hear what other people are doing and to be motivated by that. So I think that's not really answering the question, but that's a core fundamental thing of comparing, like when we talked about like somebody who maybe is deaf, or blind, maybe even the youth can't, maybe there's whatever it is, like that's a, kind of a hypothetical situation, but it's the fact that you can go in and not be the best drummer. I mean, I know there's drummers that can,
That blow us
play
away.
circles around me, but I'm great at what I do. And
That's what I mean.
And I keep working harder at it every day to, accomplish certain goals. So maybe I'll see somebody, we'll take, what's a good topic? Double bass drum, playing double bass. Like that's something you see a lot of because it's kind of fun to watch. Even if you're not a musician, to watch somebody move their feet that fast, maybe 260, 270 BPM, that's quite an accomplishment. So, and it's something that I'm still working on. I mean, I've played for some pretty major heavy metal artists, and not that it's my favorite style of music or forte, but it's something that I want to be able to do. If I get a call, I want to be able to go, yeah, no problem. I can play that and whatever weird time signature that there is. So
like Vinny Colaiuta playing for Megadeth, can you imagine?
I mean, he would crush it.
Oh my
Vinny
God.
Colaiuta's,
Like he did it actually for one album, right? Yeah. Oh my God.
he's playing on so many albums.
Yes.
Of that, you're
You
like,
wouldn't
wait,
know. Yeah.
it's Vinny Colaiuta. But I mean, that's
Exactly,
right. He's not just a pop drummer or a jazz drummer. He can do anything. But so in that vein,
Yes.
that's always something that I just use it to motivate myself. And I think everybody should look around because there's so much content available to everybody now that there's no reason that you should ever get lazy or be happy with where you're at. If you're not pushing to be better every day, then you're not accomplishing your goal, and you're losing track of that
awesome.
of that prize, so to speak. So I think it's great. I like everything you said. They're just things that help me be better. Like I'm motivated and inspired by everybody, and not just in music, other things in life. Like yesterday, I was contacted by it was a career counselor, and it was just random. They found me on Instagram, I think it was, and she was a lovely person, and she contacted me, and she's like, hey, so I've got this guy, and he wants to become a drummer, and I responded going, does he play drums now? And she was like, no, he's been to a couple of hand drum circles, and I go, okay, fine.
No judgment.
No judgment. If that's what he wants to do, that's interesting. And she's like, can you just meet with him for like a half hour and kind of tell him about what you do? And I was like, absolutely. I would love to, again, inspire somebody, and like it helps me to know that it's, again, if I can help somebody else with a music, or whatever it might be, I'm more than happy to. So we sat down, and he was like, yeah, so I like drumming, and how do you do this? And I go, well, I mean, it's a lot of work. There's a lot of practicing. If you knew the hours and the time that you spend every day practicing, rehearsing, learning how to read music, going to school, playing with people, learning the communication aspects and listening and understanding and practicing and more practicing, and guess what? You're going to have to practice some more, and you're going to have to spend a lot of money on your instrument and not get a lot back. I drove around in like a car that was about $3,000 and had about 20 grand worth of gear in it for a long time. And so there was so many things.
You were really giving him the real talk.
I gave him the real talk because I was like, if he really wanted to do it, I'm not going to sugarcoat. I'd be like, oh, win some, lose some, and everybody can have a gig, and you can do. I'm like, listen, this is what I do. It doesn't work for everybody, and some people are very lucky and they grow up and maybe their best friends end up being songwriter for BTS and then make $3 million on one song. Like it just takes one song. So there's different scenarios where there's luck involved for sure. Yes, I mean, even in my own career, being in the right place and right time I would say that's maybe some of the best parts, right? So you can't really ignore that, but being out there and being in that place where maybe you have an opportunity is how I was presented. I go, if you're not there and you're not out, you might not meet that person where 2 years down the road, they're going to be like, oh, Zak's a drummer. And I saw him make a post on Instagram about he's got a studio or he was doing a gig with whoever. I'm going to call Zach for that because I know he can show up and do it. And like that's usually like that phone call will come through and you're like, hello? Yep. Oh yeah. Oh, you need me to be in Vegas tomorrow to play with Corey Taylor on his tour? I have to learn 25 songs
Tonight?
okay, so all right, yes, you just say yes. When this happened actually about 10 months ago, and I was like, yes, you know what I mean. My friend was the MD for the band, and their drummer got COVID the night before the tour started. So that's a scenario where I hadn't really done anything. I hadn't even seen him for like 2 years, and the call came through, and it was one of the bigger gigs I had ever done, playing with Corey Taylor, who's if you don't know out there, it's Slipknot, Stone Sour.
Yeah.
He's got his own career, so he's a very accomplished musician, brilliant songwriter and person. And I took the opportunity, and you know, it was I don't get anxiety ever. It was the only time I'd ever had anxiety because I had to stay up all night learning the music, and then we had Kim drove while I charted songs.
Yeah, I
in
was
the
gonna
car.
say who charted. Yeah. Okay.
So we jumped in the car early that morning because I had to be to sound check, and you know, by like 1 p.m.
Right.
And it's about a 5-hour drive from LA to Vegas. So I charted in the car listening to the songs, and we got there. I didn't get to play anything, and it was a lot of new music from him, and like Stone Sour and Slipknot are not easy songs to play.
Yeah.
So there's, you know, a lot involved in the arrangements and the actual pulling it off. And you showed up, and we ran through some stuff in rehearsal. I charted some more, and luckily Corey and the band they're fantastic.
Right.
Some of the best musicians I have ever met.
Speaking of Slipknot, who's Slipknot's new drummer?
Jay Weinberg.
Yeah, Max Weinberg's son.
Yeah.
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 Jordy Jameson. I mean, didn't he pass away?
He did pass away. Yeah. It's a sad story, you know, substance issue, and there's more involved that I don't know about it, but some of his parts and what he did for that genre of music, amazing. Yeah. So I think people think of Jay as the drummer now, but Joey is, I mean, all time amazing, influential in both drumming and as a musician. So
going back to what you just said, no, because image is part of the whole package, but based on that story, when like gigging for Corey Taylor, playing 20 songs, learning it overnight, that's the definition of luck, really. Preparedness, meeting opportunity.
Precisely. Exactly. That's exactly what that is.
And it's like when you're working every day, any day could be the big day.
Any day. Yeah. So you just keep working, but that motivates.
Right.
That's why I go, you know, today is just, you know, Tuesday, May 3rd, 4th. What is the day today? Anyway, whatever today is. It's like,
right?
this, you know what? I'm going to get up, and today could be a day where something amazing happens. And if not, I'm going to still do my best in everything I'm doing and work hard. And maybe tomorrow's the day, or, you know, maybe next week something's going to happen. And at the same time, I'm so in love with drumming and music that I'm just happy to be alive and being able to go
Amen.
Play drums, you know, and make music with people. And today was, like I said, was the music video, and just getting to hang out with, you know, 3 of my best friends now, and a band that I love being a part of. And we have an album coming out, and it's exciting. And we were set up. I can't tell you a lot about it. I was told to keep it secret until until the video drops.
Did you play the drums on the recording or just the music video?
I did also play the drums in the recording. Yeah, we actually recorded at Dave Grohl's 606 Studios.
Right, nice.
Yeah,
no?
that's where we did the album.
Did you meet Dave?
I didn't meet Dave that day, but I met Dave many times before. Yeah,
Nice guy, no?
very nice guy. Taylor was just fantastic too. Yeah,
God bless his soul.
Just I'm still shocked. I'm in shock from it. Like he was one of my favorite. Dave and Taylor were 2 of my favorite drummers growing up, and to this day.
Yeah.
So
Let's talk about frustration and rejection, because that's an everyday thing too.
absolutely.
But I won't get ahead of you, because the way I perceive you, when you're grateful every day, that's a good mindset, and that's a good heart to have.
Yeah.
The gratefulness. But rejection is real, and emotions are real. How do you deal with them?
Rejection happens all the time. You can't predict it. It just happens, and sometimes it's from a place that you don't think it's going to come from, and maybe it's really intense, and maybe it's just something you can kind of brush off and move around, and maybe it's something that takes a year or more to work around. So rejection is something that everybody's going to hit in their career. I don't care who you are. I don't care if you're the best drummer in the world, in the most successful band, there's going to be rejection. There's going to be, somebody's going to say something on social media that's going to be just demeaning and like
Right.
eat you up from the inside. And it's really how you handle it that set, people apart. And to piggyback off that, I want to make sure we talk about like mental health.
Yeah.
It's something I care a lot about.
Thank you for bringing it up. My brother died of suicide.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
That's why mental health is really close to my heart.
Me too. So there's a band I play for now that I really want to talk about it tonight. But now especially knowing that about your brother. But everybody's going to hit setbacks and rejection and have problems in their life and heartbreak and
Yes.
Friends and family are going to pass away and animals are going to pass away and you're going to lose a gig or you're going to have an injury like I just got my back surgery and other ailments that tend to creep up on you as we get older in age.
Yeah.
So that in itself are those roadblocks that come up and it's just again working through it. So you just make adjustments.
Don't glaze over this mental health
I won't.
topic.
It's getting to the point of like everybody has rejection and everybody has difficulties in their life. Like that's when I go around and maybe somebody is not paying attention at the wheel or they're rude to me in line at Starbucks or maybe, my first reaction isn't to get angry. It's to be like, okay, maybe they're just having a
bad day,
a really bad day. Take it for a grain of salt. I mean, I'm not saying like somebody's going to come up and punch me in the face. Like that's one thing.
Yeah.
But if somebody treats you, I just kill them with kindness. I've never been one to yell back at somebody. I'm just like, hey, sorry about that. Well, there must be a misunderstanding. How do we work through it? Like that's the way I go about rejection, and that's kind of a metaphor for even in music. If I like lose a gig or somebody's like, Zach, you really messed that up. I go, oh, okay, I didn't mean to, but tell me how I did, and so I don't do it next time. If you can at least do that, so I can better myself.
Communication also is important.
And I think the worst mindset is to be like, oh God, I suck. I'm never going to be good. I'm just going to give up. Not that I haven't ever thought that. I think anybody, that's just the natural reaction. It's to just kind of stop that thought and be like, okay, take a breath, focus on something else. What are good things happening in my life right now? And the sun's out. Maybe I'm just happy that my dog is alive and I get to go take
those little grateful moments, right?
Yes. And again, people's lives can get very difficult and there's lots of things that I can't even imagine people have to deal with. And so that's where the mental health thing comes in. And a band that I started with some session friends. They're all session players around LA. Singer, bass player, guitar player, keyboard player, and myself, all session musicians. And I wasn't actually a fan of Linkin Park, but I obviously knew who Linkin Park was. Yeah. And then when Chester had passed away, suicide. It hit hard, and around that time there were a couple others, like Chris Cornell was another one. There seemed to be a string. I mean, yeah. So exactly, and my friend Chris Hodges, who's the singer in this particular band, he goes, I love Linkin Park, and our friend AJ, bass player, he loves Linkin Park. Have you ever done anything? Have you done a tribute band? I go, I've heard of them, but I've never done a tribute band. I've just done like, a variety cover band or the 80s band or which I'm still in. And like we were talking about how you do that too. And I was like, no, but that sounds fun. So you just play at Linkin Park as like a show. You like, do I have to dress up like them or something? And they go, not really. Like luckily the singer kind of looks like Chester and and then our other singer, keyboard player, guitar player looks like Mike Shinoda a little bit. Uh-huh. So it's a really cool thing. And then me, the bass player and guitar player, we tip our hat in some ways to the Linkin Park.
Yeah.
But we're like, let's do this. And one of the main goals was because we're like, oh, listen, this is something that's happening all over. We don't want to. We want to use this as an opportunity to help people. And so immediately we contacted Chester's wife. We made sure we have this idea to do this, and we contacted Warner Brothers and their management. And we're like, we didn't need to. Like, there's lots of Linkin Park tribute bands, but for us, it was about doing it for not just a gig and to play with our friends, but also to help people and have a reason why we're doing this tribute band. And we take it really seriously. And we started about 3 years ago. The band's called In the End, obviously after the song In the End. And we started playing, and we did a couple small little gigs. But our main thing was, hey, we're here to help all of you. Please come out to the show. You can come talk to us about anything, and we also donate portions of our salary and our merchandise sales to mental health groups and awareness foundations across the board. There's a bunch that we work with on a weekly basis, and we do that, and it started to just expand and blow up, and we were like, people were coming up to us and telling us these stories, and it was just it really affected us. Like we were getting to tears hearing about these people, and they're like, thank you so much for playing these songs. And I thought about killing myself this morning, and because I had this show to go to, I was like, I'm gonna go to it. And and now that I've watched you guys play these songs, it gave me purpose to continue to tomorrow. And usually they're like, I don't know about after that, but I made it through tonight, and tomorrow's gonna be a better day because of it. And that's exactly what we're just like, one day at a time. We're like, here, look us up on social media. Here's my phone number. Call me. If you're in a state where you're like, I don't know what I think this is it. I don't want to live anymore. That's when you call us. And like we've been trained by different mental health professionals. Yeah. And we're not professionals at all. Like we don't pretend to be. And if somebody comes up to us with a question or a situation we don't know what to do with, we're like, I can't help you. Here, give me a hug. It's going to be okay. Don't do anything that you're going to regret or that your family and friends are going to regret. And we take it from that step and just try to help people. And it makes us feel great. And we love playing the music now. Like I'm now a Linkin Park fan. Like once you dive into 30 plus songs of a band like that, and you realize this is amazing. These songs
genius
songwriting, and like getting to see the reaction of the fans that come out. They trust us with doing the music justice. And
has any of the band members come out to see you guys?
Not that we know. We've had a couple of we had one of the bass players that had been toured with them came out one night. We're close with their management, and we played a gig last weekend, and their main marketing manager, Adam, came out. He sat in with us, and I know that they're aware that we're doing it. One day, Mike Shinoda is going to come out to the show. Mike, if you're out there, come sing with us. Shout out, Mike Shinoda. We love you. So we don't do it for that reason. We do it because we love playing the music now. We love helping people. It's a really fun gig, and to get to see the look on people's faces when we're playing.
But you know what? This is so nice because without knowing who Linkin Park is, but knowing Chester Bennington's story, and now you talking to me this way and talking to the audience this way, it's become sort of like your advocacy to really create, to really, just spread mental health awareness.
Yes. And that's just, in this day and age and during the pandemic, it was something that reared its head up in a way that I don't think anybody was prepared for. I mean, to get through the last couple of years of being locked in your house with, your significant other or family, and dealing with that and having rejection from not being able to work, financial hardships.
Right.
I mean, we went through from murder hornets to Black Lives Matter to, changing presidents, whether it didn't matter what side you're on, but lots of hate, lots of change and turmoil.
Divisive, right?
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff. Depending, it doesn't matter what side you're on, because I mean, there's just lots of uneasiness in the world, and continues to be. I mean, now we have the war in Ukraine, so there's lots of turmoil in just the stock market, and people having jobs the next day or losing money or whatever it is, and it's just a very difficult time to be alive and human. And it's great to get to play shows again and have people start to show up and have them, not be afraid to leave the house. And, COVID's still a very real thing.
Yeah,
so
it is.
I take it very seriously. I have not gotten it yet, and I get tested. Yeah. Oh, it's a very serious thing, and it's still out there. I think it's kind of went on the back burner, but it's something that there could be a huge surge again, and we could go back to ground zero in no time. If there was an outbreak of whatever variant or whatever. So I think about that, and I just think it's great that things are opening back up, and we can start to play music for people again and give them something to look forward to. In our small part, it's there's many other things people can do, and and see and movies and
Right.
art, but for me it's great to be able to play in that band and help people.
This episode is brought to you by Leo Bato and Associates, ang realtor na patok.
So all these things are happening. We know that something else is looming out there that could happen, that could change everything that we have right now. You have an advocacy that you really are focused on. You have a giving heart. You're young. What's next for you?
What's next? I obviously have huge goals, both micro and macro, or short-term, long-term. So there's,
I want to hear what the short term is
short-term. Okay, so
first.
short-term is...
I don't want to hear
No, it's short-term is, it's just about the gigs I have this week. So my short-term is being prepared for what gigs I have this week. I have a session tomorrow.
Uh-huh.
I have live gigs this weekend. I've got some rehearsals. And it's just about being prepared and ready so that I don't let people down. Like,
Right.
my nightmares are showing up to a gig and I forget something, like my sticks or a cymbal or something. And the
Or
other
a specific instrument that's needed for a specific
right.
song.
Yeah, exactly. As not being prepared, and then not knowing the music. Like, I have a recurring nightmare of, like, I'm on stage in front of thousands of people and I don't know the songs. And those are my nightmares.
Do you read while playing? Sorry, I'm going.
No,
I'm
good
asking.
question. I find myself, yes, I read music. Every musician, you should learn to read music
While playing.
while playing.
Because me, I'll read music during rehearsal, but when I perform, I'd rather be interacting with. Because I hate it when I see musicians looking at the chart while they're performing live. I'm like, oh.
I see. Okay, so two different things. Everybody should be able to read music. So
Amen.
this is a public service announcement to
I
everybody
agree.
listening. You should be able to have a theoretical knowledge of how to read, count,
Yes.
and understand what you're doing. And it's very easy these days. So that's one thing. So yes, I chart out every song
Right.
that I've learned. Like, when I'm playing with that many bands and artists, I can't memorize 500 songs. This is not possible. So I've got a great system down of charting it out, spending the time learning the song, I chart out the full song, and then I put it on an iPad. I scan it into my iPad. It's a very specific system I have, but learn whatever your system is. Everybody has a different
Yeah.
system. So that's kind of what I do, but in rehearsals, kind of go through it. And sometimes, depending on how new the gig is, I might sneak an iPad like underneath my hi-hat.
Yeah.
So nobody can see it. But if I'm like, okay, after the second chorus, what do we do? What's the bridge for
Right.
this? I can look down.
Is there a vamp? Are there specific notes that
Right.
that needs to be played? Di ba?
Again, that's sometimes. But to your point, live, it's about the performance. And
Yes.
you want to make sure that you're not stuck in reading music. Unless it's like, there's specific gigs where it's okay.
Orchestra.
Yes, or like certain jazz gigs where
Yes.
you're reading charts because there's lots going on, but that's kind of
Right.
expected. So there's some scenarios, but normal gigs that I do live, that's not the thing. Like when you're on stage in front of lots of people, they expect you to and I want to connect with them. I don't want to just be buried in my iPad. Like, that's no fun for me. It's no fun for people watching.
Yes.
So that there is a difference. Yeah. Sometimes you have to, it's just, you can't memorize everything all the time, but do not, don't use it as a crutch. It's there just in case. It's your soft little baby blanket if you need it, so to speak.
When you're charting, so let's say, give me a song.
Don't Stop Believing.
Don't Stop Believing. You're learning it for the first time. There's a play on the ride. There's a play on the tom, on the hi-hat, on the snare, and the kick, right? When you chart, do you write it specifically like Steve Smith played it? Or are you going to somehow get it through the first night if it's the first time playing, just charting in terms of, okay, now it's the intro, the verse, the chorus, goes to the bridge and all that stuff. Now that's charted. How do you write it?
I tend to be a perfectionist and
OCD.
OCD, as we talked about. So I mean, if I'm hanging out at a bar and like somebody's like, "Hey, come sit in, Zach. Do you know this song?" I'll be like, "I've heard it. I can probably get through it with if you give me some cues."
Yes.
Then it's different. But
Yes.
if I'm hired to do, if I don't care how last minute it is, I will chart it out as it was played, so that I don't want to not cue maybe a band member is used to
Right.
a fill. And like, "Don't Stop" is actually a good example. It's a song that everybody knows, but
Yeah.
being drummers, that's not a very easy song to play.
No,
There's a
it's,
whole
it's
lot
all
going
linear.
on.
Yeah.
So you've got basically
Left hand on the hi-hat.
left hand on the hi-hat the whole time, and then you've got specific rhythms on the toms,
Bing,
bell
yeah.
of the ride,
Yes.
snare drum. So if you don't play that right, if you're just being like, don't stop, believe, like you change the feel of the song, right? So, I mean, I would never show up to a gig is the answer. And I would learn it as it was performed by the drummer, as it was
Yes.
expected of me to perform it. Yeah.
Okay, good. Long-term goals. So short-term goals, we talked about just rehearsals, doing that, the gigs,
Yeah.
the day-to-day. That's
Yeah.
short-term, and you're doing that. What's a long-term goal?
Long-term goals.
We know
are-
there's no kids, so
No kids. But other long-term goals are just success-based and just keep climbing the ladder. I think in any career you should be continually climbing that ladder and like pushing yourself. And that's the same thing for me. My goal is to keep building my career up with a bigger band and maintain the bands I play with. I love playing with all different styles of music and all different people. Like, it's something I love the chaos and the changing up of styles and specific drums that I bring to accomplish a specific sound. But really I want to play in the number one band in the world. I want to play with somebody that, and it's really, I look back of like, it's probably petty, but like my family and my mom and like friends that I grew up with, they're like, "Oh, wow, holy crap, Zach's playing with them now? Oh, Zach's on the Grammys tonight, performing on the Grammys, or Zach's on the Super Bowl." Like and I've seen it with friends that I made since I moved here. Like, they've accomplished that goal of those things. And I go, "Oh, if you work hard enough, it's possible."
right.
It's my dream, like, that I've been working towards since I was 2 years old, basically. Like, it's my dream, and if you work hard enough, you might not get it, but if you don't try your 100% best and go for it, like, I would have regrets my whole life. And the one thing is, I live life and I don't want to have regrets. I have to try my best and work my hardest to get it. So that's the long-term goal of just being the most famous drummer, best drummer I can be in my world. You know what I mean?
But you know that if you're part of the number one band, you know that you can't play all the music that you've played, right?
Yeah, but what a great problem to have, to be like, "Hey,
Right?
all my friends that are maybe struggling, or they want to have that next gig of that next level." I'll be like, "Here, you know what? Because you're so good at what you're doing, and I see myself in you. Here's this gig, and you know what I mean? That's, like I said, that's a great problem to have.
Right.
If I'm so busy with one band that's got hit songs all over the place, and we're touring the world, 365 days of the year, every
Same
year,
songs every night.
at that point, like, that becomes your job, is to play those songs and to give your 110% best performance. I mean, and I've talked to,
Yeah.
quote unquote rock stars or pop stars that have to do that. They have to play those same songs every night. I mean, and being in like cover bands, be like, "Okay, I've played Sweet Home Alabama a lot.
Right.
I don't necessarily like doing it, but you know what? The people in the audience love it, so I have to remember, I still give it 100% effort to play Sweet Home Alabama.
True.
Whenever it comes up in the set list, or whatever the song is. Everybody's got a song they're like, "Ugh, I don't play this song." Everybody has that. And you're like, "Well, I thought you're a musician. You love playing music." Well, yeah, but I played that song 1,000 times. And so, I mean, but yeah, that's being a professional and being an artist is, okay, the people want to hear it. I'm only up here because of all the people out in the audience and the people buying the albums or listening to us on Spotify or Pandora. It's because of them that I get to have a job. So if I don't do my best to make sure that they hear this song in the best way I can present it, then, I mean, what's the point? So,
Right. let's talk about the music that you have out there published. How many bands are you in right now, like permanently in right now?
A lot.
Not session. Huh?
Right. So the term session kind of it's a gray area. So when I personally say session, I mean I am in a studio or in my studio recording music for somebody.
Okay, so that's not part of it.
That's not part of it. But also
it has to be like if JJ, Mike, you and me put up a band.
Yeah.
That's our band.
Our band.
Yeah.
That I'm an actual member
Yes.
of. There's maybe 5 acts that I play with where I'm actually like a member.
Like you have this deciding power.
Ooh, deciding power. That probably comes down to 3, maybe 4 bands. Then.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, deciding power. I mean, even we'll take I'll give you a scenario. Okay, so I play for a lot of bands where I'm hired to come in and I
Yes.
play for an artist.
Yes.
I'm a member of the band.
Yes.
But I don't get to make decisions. I show up
Correct.
and I do my job. I get paid a salary to keep my mouth shut sometimes.
Yeah.
That's a lot
Cheers.
of it. Cheers to that, right? I am a good employee in those cases, and I'm happy to. I mean, I love it. I don't play for anybody that I don't respect and love playing for. So that's first and foremost. Like if it
So I
was,
guess I'm talking about shareholder, where you're a shareholder.
I
There we go.
gotcha. Yeah. So I would say currently there's four groups currently. Here I'll give you a scenario. We'll talk about what I did today with it's the band the Black Star Riders.
Okay, we're not talking about the thing that you did. We can talk about that, the Black Star Riders.
Yeah, we can talk about Black Star Riders.
Okay.
So, yeah, so I can't tell you what the music video was today just because we're going to release it coming up in like a month.
Okay.
So it was just, we were going to keep it secret so the reveal is cool. So this band, I knew about them because I'm in music, but there's a band called Thin Lizzy. You remember Thin
Yeah.
Lizzy? Okay. So the founding singer and songwriter, Phil Lynott, passed away. And they've kind of had a revolving door of singers and like versions of the group. And the most recent version in the mid 2000s wanted to start writing new original music, and the Lynott estate didn't allow it. They said, no, we're not gonna, you can't write under the Thin Lizzy name. So the band members decided just, okay, well, we can't do it under the name. We're going to start a new band called the Black Star Riders. And so that's how the band came to be. And they had a different drummer leading up until about 2 years ago. And they approached me. They go, hey, we went and had lunch at Barney's Beanery in Hollywood, in West Hollywood.
Yeah.
And
I love that place.
I love that place too. It's a good hang.
Yeah.
And we hit it off. The guys in the band are just the coolest dudes. And it was pretty easy. Like they're like, hey, Zach, let's do this. You're in the band. Let's record the album. And then we're going to tour the world. Like it was that kind of a thing. And they're like, but it's not a for hire thing. You are a member of the band. We want to portray it as that. That's what we are. And it's a huge opportunity for me to be a member of a band of that caliber and of that level. And maybe not everybody out there knows of them, but it's fantastic music. In the U.S. they usually are an opening band for like Def Leppard or Judas Priest or Journey, like that kind of thing. They're the opening band here, but in like the U.K. they're
big.
They are the headliner. They are that level there. So yeah, starting in December, that's when we start touring, and that'll be a huge opportunity for me to be a member of a band in that case. And there's a few others.
Before we talk about the few others, how does it feel being an employee here where you get paid a salary, and here, Black Star Rider, you're getting paid equity, which right now is kind of equity.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like it's just a word, EQI.
Yeah. It's
EQUI TY.
It's, I mean, for me, there's a term, mailbox money. Have you ever heard that term? Mailbox money?
Yeah.
So in the way I understand it is that if you play on an album
Yep.
and you're a member of the band, or, if your music gets like
Published, or even
published, or if it's in a movie or on a
sync,
commercial,
yeah.
if it gets, then that's called mailbox money. So then
Yes.
you're not just paid for that specific session or for that album. It's you get money.
That's for life.
It's just for life. It keeps
Yeah.
coming in, which as a musician, there's only a few ways to kind of keep building up your income every year, short of writing that hit song
Yes.
that makes you $3 million, which that's a rarity. That's not something that I do well. I can't write a hit song. You know what I mean? So I can plan a hit song.
Why? Okay, never mind.
Oh, well, okay. No, I mean, I just know what I'm great at. And
Okay,
like,
okay,
you know what I mean? It's also, that's a big part of like, I know what I can do incredibly well. And I also
Right.
know what I don't excel at so much. It's not that I don't work hard at being a songwriter. It's just not something that comes,
At least you're honest with yourself. That's
Yeah.
self-assessment also. That's
Right.
important.
I try to spend my time in things that I know I can improve upon, and that's
Yeah.
going to get me to that short-term
Yes,
and long-term
yes.
goal. Long-term goal will be become a better songwriter. I have lots of long-term goals. So, okay, we veered off. But Mailbox Money, it's having that money that builds up so you have more and more every month where
Right.
you could be working your butt. Can I say ass?
Yeah, you can say whatever you want
Working
to say.
my ass off. And you can only make so much money. You only have so many hours in the day to work your ass off. And so the only way to really kind of start building up.
You know your mom's going to be watching this, right? Does she allow you to say ass?
My mom's got a mouth like a sailor. No, I'm just kidding. Sorry, Mom. You don't. My mom is a Saint John.
Saint John, yeah.
Yeah,
She's a Saint John, yeah.
I've only heard her swear 5 or 6 times in her entire life.
Okay. Okay, go. Mailbox money.
Mailbox money. So you can only,
Yeah.
there's only so many hours in the day that you can only do so many gigs that give you that compensation. So being in a band or being on an album or getting a placement in a movie or commercial is the way that
Amen.
you can get that mailbox money that starts to build up in a crew. And so you have it coming in when you're on vacation. Like being a musician, we don't get 2 weeks vacation and like bonuses or anything. Like if I don't work, I don't make money. So
Yep.
that's something that also motivates me to stay really busy. I'm a bit of a workaholic, and Kim will tell you, my girlfriend will be like, why don't we have to go on a vacation. I want a week of vacation with you. I'm like, well, it's easy for you to say. You get
She
money.
gets vacation, yeah.
So
PTO.
yeah, exactly. We don't have that. So that's always something, but that mailbox money starts to allow you to do things like that. That's our vacation money. So that starts to build up. So that's a big goal, and that's something that's great about being a member of a band. And this particular album, it's not me saying it. This is the label. These are the people that have heard it. There's probably 7 or 8 hit songs on it that are to go number one.
This is nice.
And I've never been to something of that caliber.
Are you excited?
We're all super excited. Yeah.
So there's just one band. There are 2 other bands. How about the other bands? You have equity in that too.
Yes. So one of the other bands is the In the End group, which that's just a tribute band.
Okay.
But I'm a founding member and one of the business partners. So we're accruing money through sales.
It's nice,
and
right?
So that's one of like
In the end.
In the end, well, again, that's not just a passion project; it's something we believe in. So that's one of the second one. The third one is a band called Ashen Moon, which it's another kind of legacy act. It's there's a band called In Excess,
Yeah.
which I'm crazy how good they are. I mean, I love In Excess. I always
Nice.
did. So Gary Beers was the bass player in In Excess, founding member, and was in the band until it stopped after Michael passed away, and. That was another tragic incident.
Yeah,
so
right.
Gary and one of my dear friends, Toby Rand, who is from Australia. They're both from Australia, and he had success. He was on the what show was it? It was Rockstar Supernova, I think was the one. If you guys remember that show,
Yeah.
So Toby was on that. So that's how he got known, and he's one of the best singers I've ever worked with. He's amazingly talented. So
Who's the new singer of In Excess?
I mean, no, but Toby was going to be the singer, but
Right.
they're
but
not.
Someone, JD, who?
Oh yeah, so they were going to try to tour, and then it got kiboshed for specific reasons. So yeah, but after he
JD Fortune, was it? Yeah. Yeah.
he kind of bowed out, and then they were going to bring Toby in, and for reasons that are within the band, they're not going to tour. So it was kind of the same thing of like, well, Gary wanted to play, Toby was available, and another couple guys in town, they kind of started playing, and it was the same thing of like, all right, we know Zach. Let's bring Zach in. And
So Gary Beers is with you?
Gary Beers, my boy. I love Gary. We're
Lord.
like,
Did he play on the original? Did he play on original Sin?
everything? Yeah,
Dang!
he did everything.
And you get to play that with him?
It's insane. Getting to play Suicide Blonde and
Oh yeah.
I mean the Thickest Thieves. I mean it's endless.
It's nice. So how do you play I Need You Tonight? You really play it on the side of the rims?
I do it verbatim. Oh yeah,
Singing.
yeah, that's good.
This episode is brought to you by ABBA e-Services.
Are you a singer?
No.
I am.
You sing.
You don't sing?
No, I
Ooh,
wish.
every drummer should sing.
But I did sing.
It's our
I mean,
fifth limb or sixth limb, depending if we're.
I do talk, so I'm the most.
I figured you sang too.
I'm the only extrovert in the band, so everybody wants me to talk. But well, I write the songs for the band with JJ, and I think it's so weird. I don't sing, but I sang the band's biggest hit.
Ooh.
Does that make sense?
It makes a lot of sense.
Well, that would be. Yeah, I'm glad I'm not the singer. But Gary Beers, huh? And who
Yeah,
else?
yeah.
Toby sings.
Toby sings and plays some acoustic guitar, and then
And
we
you're
have.
on that.
What's that?
So who's not there? The Ferris brothers.
Yeah, so the Ferris brothers are, they're kind of doing their own thing, and they're not wanting to tour and do the band. Which, I mean, Michael was. I mean, that was a shock to them, obviously, like
know.
how that went down, and
Yeah.
they just kind of feel it's best to just not tour. Maybe they will one day, you know what I mean? And but right now that's our that's our band.
So how does it feel playing with them?
I mean, God, they're pains in my ass. No, I love it's great. Getting to play those songs, and then the first album came out in 2019. Our album is fantastic, and during COVID, we like right before it, the pandemic, like we were just on this trajectory of gigs coming in, and like we had offers and management, and the album dropped, and it's definitely one of those tragic scenarios of because of the pandemic,
Right.
it took all the wind out of the sail. But now we're starting to regroup and we're writing new songs to get on.
What's the name of the band?
Ashen Moon.
Ashen Moon.
Yeah.
Ash and Moon.
Ashen. Ash and Moon. Yeah. The music's fantastic. The fact that we get to play some of these legendary songs with Gary and having Toby's voice on them, who's just a phenomenal singer. And like, again, some of my best friends are in the band.
Did you sing on this album?
I did not sing, but I sing live. I'm a singing drummer, which is also a reason I get some gigs, thankfully, as I can sing and play. It's that fifth
Would
limb.
you get a gig of you being the front man, standing up in front?
Oh my God. I don't even like doing karaoke. I like I love performing. I love people watching me. I'm definitely, it's one of the, hey ladies, you see me twirl my stick? Like that's part of it. But
Yeah.
but I like sitting down. I like the comfort of not being in the front. I love playing drums, but I love singing as well. Like harmonizing and like being on that side of things is really fun for me. Like the harmony aspect and filling in the gaps and like vibing with the singer.
But you do have frontman attributes, right? I'm not the first to say that, right?
Listen, would I go out in front and hey everybody, I'm Zach.
Yeah.
Welcome to the show. But being a lead singer, you have to have a certain charisma and
Don't you?
and I have charisma, but I don't have a specific lead singer charisma.
That's you saying it, right? That's not other people saying it. It's like someone telling Adam Levine, we'll get Jimmy Valentine to play guitar so you can just focus on singing. Because he was the guitar player of Maroon 5, right?
I mean, Adam can play
Like
all,
Jimmy, like
all instruments, but I mean, Adam plays drums too.
So
He's
what?
a good drummer.
So what if the label goes, you know what, Zach, ditch the drums.
First of all, I got to work on my 6-pack so I can take my shirt off, which I don't have. I like food and I like drinking, so I don't have my 6-pack yet. So short of that, no, I mean, lead singers are wired differently. they are wired differently.
They are.
They have a certain thing that makes them crazy and drives me nuts, but
They
also, and that's not, I'm not being derogatory. Like
No.
to be able to go out in front of a stage
Yeah.
and like look people in the eyes
Yeah.
and like,
And like they mean it.
and they don't have anything in front of them. Yeah. Like I mean, that's a true connection. Like that's a skill
Yeah.
I mean, I can't sing like Toby, and I can't sing like some of the, the like Ricky and Black Star Riders. I can't sing like Chris from In the End. So for me, it's like, I'm great supporting somebody else. I'm great at harmonies. I love being on stage. I love performing. Will I go out and talk to people? I have no problem being the center of attention, but lead singers are wired differently. And I know that I can't do it as well as them. So why would I not have them do it versus me? That's my mentality.
I get it. Here's what I don't get,
Ooh.
but I'd like to get this.
Get this.
Only child, center of attention, actually has a giving heart. How did that happen? Yeah, are you seeing where I'm coming from? You were born into a musical family. You sing, you play drums, you're good looking, you're the center of attention, and you end up wanting to be behind the drums. And you're not selfish. You're blessed. You're wired differently.
Yes.
How?
Wired differently. I mean, I'd have to.
Did you and your dad have this conversation? Son, why
No.
don't you sing? Because I'm pretty sure your dad caught you singing and he knew that you were good.
He said, no, my dad led, like, my parents. Okay, the easy answer to this is parents. I had fantastic parents. I was lucky. Not everybody has parents that believe
Is that
in them.
because you said ass and now you're trying to...
Yeah, Mom, I love you.
Okay.
No. I'm trying to think if she ever said the F word. Probably once or twice. Maybe once
Okay,
or
go.
twice.
You had fantastic parents.
Yeah, my mom and dad were fantastic, and being great examples and seeing how my dad helped people and my mom is a just absolute amazing soul of a person, and just seeing that and other family members too, and I always tried to avoid luckily I was intelligent enough growing up to I didn't surround myself with people that were toxic or negative to me.
Yeah.
So my friends too, just great people, and I come from Wisconsin. In general, school we didn't have. I mean, there's always bullies, but I had a great education. I didn't have to grow up in a bad neighborhood.
Right.
So, and the fact that I grew up in a small little town and just outside Green Bay, and my parents were fantastic, and I had that to go upon, and people pushing me to do what I love. I mean, they wanted me to do everything but music, but they knew that. They're like, hey, it's your passion. We're 100% behind you. Go to college and work really hard.
That was a deal.
Yeah. I mean, it wasn't a deal, but if I decide not to go to college, if I want to work at McDonald's, they'd be like, if that's what you want to do, then we'll love you, and you can do that all day long. But because they did such a good job, and that wasn't something. So am I lucky in that aspect? 100%. There's people that do not have those advantages. We didn't have a lot of money. My dad was a musician, so we grew up fairly poor. So financial well-being was not something I've ever known, and being in LA, it's very expensive to live here. And it's just through luck that I've been able to kind of amass a career and buy a house and have a nice car and have a huge drum collection through hard work and not having those things, growing up, being poor also was something I'm I don't want to not have money and financial well-being. So that was also something that pushed me, not to get off topic, but parents. Easy answer, mom and dad, seeing that and knowing how to treat people with respect and love one another, and there's a lot of wise words that are in songs, Being a huge Beatles fan, they talked a lot about love and treating each other with respect. And
You can't buy love,
yeah, exactly.
Can't buy me love.
Exactly.
Yeah. There are kids right now who feel entitled. Something.
Ooh, we're about to get dark here. I have a lot of feelings on this. Okay, keep going though.
I want to know your feelings on this.
We did say nothing is
Off the table.
off the table. Yeah, there were nothing out of bounds. Okay. I don't hide anything. Like, you can ask me any question. Any of my friends can ask me a question. I'm going to give you how I feel.
Yeah.
I'm completely fine with you. If you disagree with me, that's fine. I think we live in a country where that is accepted,
Right.
and we're very lucky
Is
for
it?
that. It is. People may disagree with you, but if you can't believe that, then that's fine. As long as you don't physically
Yeah.
harm me or come at
But they've canceled a lot of people because of
Yes.
disagreements.
I mean, okay, so you should never make somebody feel bad about color of skin.
Yeah, I agree.
Sexual preference, whatever it
Amen.
might be, a political preference.
agree.
Like, listen, I believe in one thing and you can believe in the other. That's fine.
That's fine.
But don't make me, don't push your values and views on me and make me try to do them, or
Vice versa,
physically
yeah.
and vice versa. Don't physically harm me in any way. And it's fine. You know what I mean? As long as you don't do those things, I'm fine with it. But entitlement is the one thing.
Yeah, there you go.
It's
Ooh,
on a daily basis.
I could see the change in your
Ooh.
face.
No, because
I hate that too.
and it's all over. I mean, I'm getting to be, I'm 38, almost 40. I've lived, we're getting up there in age, and I've seen a lot, and I've seen the world change, just like maybe our parents and grandparents saw
Right.
the world change, and they're like, okay, this is, what's happening with these kids these days?
Yeah.
But I think it's more than that now, that the entitlement, when you see it driving around the city, or you see it with people in line someplace, or the way people treat each other on some show, whatever reality show,
Yeah.
or it's the little things on a daily basis where I'm like, wow, these people really don't give a, can I say the F
Yeah.
word? They don't give a shit about
What happened,
anybody
what happened
else.
to the F word? I thought you.
I mean, I'll drop it if I need to. I will drop it if but
But it's true, yeah.
entitlement and going along with that, also something that I don't believe in is, I grew up playing sports, and again, being on a team and working with people, and that mentality is a big part of who I am and why I can be such a good band member or
Yes.
work with somebody in that scenario. And also developing my skill. When you're in a sports team, you are continually training every day, twice a day, all day long, to make yourself better over
Yeah.
your entire career. And that's what being a musician to me is as well. Some people view it as like, oh, I'm an artist and I'm just going to be happy with, playing, quarter notes in this song. That's whatever. And that's great. But for me, that's not what I want to do and not what I feel is my goal. So with sports nowadays, I teach drums as well, and I'm a bit of a career coach. So when I have students come in of specific ages, and they're like, oh yeah, I had a baseball game, and I go, oh cool, did you win? And they go, well, we didn't keep score. I go,
Right?
this is a thing where you don't keep score now.
Everybody gets a trophy.
There's no winners.
Oh my God.
Again, if you want to not have a winner, but my opinion is that you are stunting development of children.
Yes.
If you don't lose at something, that's a big problem for me. It's because my biggest lessons were when I lost, and learning how to deal with the loss and making myself better. So next time, maybe I'll lose again. Maybe I'll lose 10 times in a row, but I keep working towards that win. And now, if you don't have the goal of being able to win something, everybody just gets a participation trophy.
Yeah.
That's not a good thing, in my opinion. And
Mine too. It's like saying your dog will never die.
yeah, that's not reality.
Right.
And I'm truly worried about the future if that's the mentality of the younger generation that's growing up through that. And the you can't do all this stuff, and you have to you have to be so politically correct that there's no losing and there's no setbacks for people until you get into the real world, and that's just not.
How about this? Debate isn't even in kids' vocabularies nowadays. They don't even know what a debate is.
At all. Yeah, that's not something that. Yeah, it's just, and that's eventually going to be a huge issue. I mean, it's already starting to be. You can see it coming up. Where like
Right.
everything's not fair. Life is not fair. You have to work hard, and
Yeah.
you're gonna have setbacks, and that ties back into the mental health of like
Right. Yeah.
the reality of what life is, and people like all of a sudden getting put out into the wild and like, oh my God, I have competition to get this job. I'm not going to make money. What am I going to do? And
Like, how come it, like,
What?
you know what? A friend of mine actually said, the reason why I didn't become a basketball player was because my mom never pushed me to practice. I'm like, you're kidding me, right? Because my dad didn't want me to play drums and told me that I had to leave the house if I wanted to play drums. And I left the house because I wanted to play drums. It was the mom never forced me to practice basketball. That's why I never became a good basketball player. I'm like, you on drugs or something?
right. Agreed. Completely that. Yeah.
Let's talk about you being a career coach, because that's important. I mean, with your mindset, it would be nice for you to actually really open the eyes of a lot of people. Like, let's say, why would someone need a career coach? Is that person trying to get into his first career or pivoting to a different career? Where do you come in?
So it's not just specifically music. Like,
No, this is
you know what I
life in
mean?
general. This
Yeah,
is,
life in general. It's not like I mean, I would love to be a keynote speaker at some presentation for some company and go out and
Why
like,
not?
and play some music for them to start out, have a drum kit on stage,
Yeah.
but then come out with a microphone and be like, listen, this is how I got here. This is what I do. This is my daily work ethic, and apply those things. And luckily I did go to college, and I was lucky enough to get a degree. And so
Right.
I have that knowledge, but also a daily working knowledge of those relationships I've built, and with people and companies. I'm very proud of all the companies that I work with and I'm sponsored and endorsed by. Like, that's a major part of my career, is like, those are goals of
yeah.
DW drums and Remo drum heads and innovative percussion sticks and Roland electronics and tunerfish lug locks. My whole gamut of all the companies that I'm with, like that, those are major accomplishments. So developing relationships and being able to go in front of people and be like, hey, so this is how I do this, and you're going to deal with difficult people. Here's how you can address those difficult people, and like give them advice. And like, I've got a whole thing that I do to help people, and I think it's fun for me. Like you're saying, could I be a lead singer for a band?
Yeah.
I could, but it's not something that I would excel at. But I can go out in front of people and speak to them and connect to them and motivate and inspire is something I love doing, just with my friends even, you know what I mean? And like, I had a dear friend of mine. He's a drummer in a huge, major band, huge. And like, he's having a rough stint right now. The band's not playing as much. He's having relationship troubles, and he's just been like, he came in, we were hanging out the other day, and he just walked in. I could feel the negativity. Like, you can, like, people are
Of
connected
course,
on a level.
yeah.
I was like, oh God, like, dude,
So heavy.
so heavy. I go, man, come on. And like, I'm very real with people. Like, I'm a good ear, and I will listen, but I'm also not like going to be somebody who'd be like, oh, I'm so sorry. I'm like, you're better than this. You have to be stronger.
Yes.
I feel bad for you right now. Everybody's got difficult stuff to deal with, and some people have it worse than others, depending on, financial hardships or family situations or whatever it might be. It's just about how you mentally can push through that. And he was having one of these times, and he just needed me to. He didn't need me to. He didn't ask me to, but I knew that as a good friend, and I could see him struggling. I needed to push him a little
Right.
bit, kind of, a little bit of an aggressive way to be like, man, I know you and you know me. You're stronger than this. You need to push through right now. And I know it sucks. I can't imagine what you're going through.
See, that's the empathy right there. I mean, you gave him empathy, but you're not actually subscribing to the victim mentality that he's having that day.
Wonderfully put. So I wanted him to know that I do empathize with him. But at the same time, when I've been in those situations, I don't let myself off the hook, and I'm not letting him off the hook.
Correct.
And it took him, he got mad at me. He goes, he didn't get like yell at me and swing at me, But he got angry. He goes, "Oh, you don't. Yeah, I disagree with you," and he stormed off. And it was about a half hour later. He came back and he goes, "Man, I'm sorry. Can we hug? I'm really. You're right. You're right.
Right.
It took him a second to process it, and so it might have taken. Some people might take a week. But it was the fact that I wasn't going to let him get away with doing that to himself, because I know that, you know, he's strong, and I was able to motivate him to push past that day and all the just terrible stuff that was happening, and be like, listen, push, like, tomorrow's going to be a better day. Work hard towards other things in your life and keep pushing.
This episode is brought to you by Leo Bato and Associates, ang realtor na patok.
So that's the career coach in me.
So personal development, that could be another long-term career.
Yeah, right.
And it's so weird, no? I guess TED Talk would be another long-term end game for you.
Yeah, no, I mean, I was a part of a masterclass this last year, and I wasn't the sole focus of it. It was the band, but it was great to hear them and how they did a masterclass and being a part of that, and that process of like teaching from real life experiences.
Yeah.
And they're huge band. And it was great to hear their stories of like what their setbacks were, and the things that they went through, and they're being poor or coming from a bad neighborhood, and their parents telling them, you can't do this, and leave the house if you decide to do this, because you're supposed to be a doctor, not a guitar player. And then writing hit songs. Like, how do you write hit songs? Well, I mean, you're lucky if you have that ability, but just keep working. It's a friend of mine, Bobby Stein. Love you, Bobby. He's
Shout out.
He's a songwriter here in LA. I play for him in his band. He's also one of my dear friends. And his term is shots on goal. He keeps
shots on goal.
He hasn't had a hit song. He's had some success, but he hasn't had that hit song. And brilliant man. And his term is shots on goal. Playing soccer or football, depending on what part of the world you're in. So playing football or soccer. And in soccer, you shoot at the goal a lot, and usually it's stopped.
Yep.
You know, it's not like football where there's lots of touchdowns scored
Here,
in the
no,
U.S.
you get 2-1, you're good.
Yeah, right. Exactly. And that's a high-scoring game.
Yeah.
So he calls it shots on goal. Like, you can kick that ball at that goal hundreds of times, and it might not go in at all, but keep trying to shoot that ball in, shots on goal. So that's something I took from him, and I think it's great advice.
It is.
You know what I mean? You're still playing the game. You're still trying. You're still getting better. You're learning your opponent's moves and how to get around them and how to, you know, maneuver in. I mean, in life, it's just a big metaphor, right? So you just learn how to, you know, get around your defender.
You know what's nice about that kind of philosophy is that you're okay being rejected. You just need to keep doing it and doing it. Change your style. Yeah, I mean, eventually you're gonna get a goal in.
Yeah, eventually a goal is gonna go in.
Yeah,
maybe it's not gonna win the championship game, but you're gonna score that goal.
Yep.
And here's a side fact about me. I love sports. I played soccer, was my first sport. I was a large child. I was about 300 pounds, easy, playing soccer. Worst player on the team. Could barely run up the field. Never scored a goal. And to this day, there's one time ingrained in my brain where the coach finally put, you know, the fat kid in off the bench, couldn't do anything, and like a miracle happened. The ball was in front of me, nobody was around me. I was running towards the goal, kicking the ball, and the goal was wide open. Like, I could have just, because for some reason the goalie was pulled, and I tripped and fell over the ball, and the ball rolled out of bounds, and I didn't score my goal. And after that, I quit soccer because I realized that, first of all, it was not my game. But I never scored that goal. But I moved on to a different sport and things that
What was the next sport?
Baseball. After that, which
were you good?
Not at first, but I loved it. I loved baseball, and then I became good. And like, some people just are not good at specific sports due to size issues, and you know, but also that motivated me to become in shape and improve myself. So baseball led to football, which led to rugby, which led to basketball.
Wait. When you played football, what position were you in?
When I was larger, I was offensive and defensive line. When I started to lose weight to become more in shape, I returned to the linebacker. That was a linebacker on defense.
Did you know that when I talk to bands, I use football as a metaphor. And I always tell the drummer that you're the quarterback.
Yeah.
your vocalist is the wide receiver. It's always like that, because when I see a timid drummer, I keep telling you cannot be timid as a drummer.
No.
Because as the drummer, you are the quarterback. The play starts with you. Your fame goes to the wide receiver because he's the one that goes to the end zone and does all the touchdown and all that stuff and all the chances. Yeah. But the quarterback equally gets all the credit and all that stuff, because if he messes up the play,
Yes.
there's no...
We might be, maybe we're a tad biased because we are drummers, but I agree with you. Any of my favorite bands or any great band usually has a really great drummer. And I think that's very true. Like, without a drummer driving the bus and like leading the way and being confident in what they're doing,
Yeah.
the band tends to not be as good if they don't have that member of that. Just like, a football team can be great. They can have great running backs and wide receivers.
Yeah.
But if they don't have a good quarterback, it's hard to win that game.
Right?
You know what I mean?
That precision,
Yeah.
there, move there, I got you.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's our role here.
Yeah.
That's our job.
That's a
as
job.
drummers.
Yeah. Exactly. I agree. And I mean, that's my mindset is I'm the rock of
Yeah.
the band. There's a movie, it's the Tom Hanks movie, That Thing You Do. Have you seen That Thing You Do?
Yeah.
So there's it's the development of that band, and I thought it was great. When they do like
I am Spartacus.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. But he wasn't always Spartacus.
Nope.
They did that first gig.
Yep. It was
in
too fast.
Vicksburg and Pittsburgh is the
Yes.
scene we're in the theater, and like the drummer blows it. Like like the pressure and like he can't hold it together and the band's falling apart.
Yep.
But then the next gig, like he has the talk and he's like, okay, he puts the glasses on and I'm Spartacus. That's his thing. And whatever your thing is, get
Yeah.
in that mindset. And I had just yesterday actually, a friend came up to me and they're like, when I'm talking to you in person, you're Zach. You're like cool dude, and like, but when you go on stage, like there's a
Switch.
change. There's a switch, and all of a sudden you're driving this massive battle. You're leading the charge in the battle. You're driving that.
From behind.
And it's and that's very much it's a mentality you have to have as a drummer is leading the band. And there was a show 2 weeks ago. I was playing for a fantastic pop singer. We were up at this festival in Lancaster, and we didn't, sound wasn't working right, and like it was hard to hear, and things were going on, and like they got a little flustered, but they turned around and looked at me, and we pushed through, and because I was,
Yeah.
you have to rise to that occasion.
That energy has to come from you.
Yeah. So everybody looks to the drummer. What do they happen? Like if you watch a band, and usually the audience doesn't necessarily know there's something wrong on stage, but when band members turn around, they look at the drummer. Usually they're going to them for support and confidence and to just get back on track.
Yep.
So.
And that's a privilege that we have.
Yes. And I mean, it's a responsibility
A
that.
big responsibility.
Yeah.
And you know what? It's nice to know that not only are you using that energy toward drumming, but you're actually disseminating it and evangelizing it toward other people that they can use in their work life.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, if you're the quarterback, like, as a metaphor for your whatever scenario you're in at a job, whether you're
Even
a manager,
in a sales group, because the manager is the wide receiver or the vocalist,
yeah,
right?
Yeah.
And you, as one of the team members, you be the quarterback. You be that person with the high sales number at the end of the month.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
helping the team, inspiring the team.
Yeah.
Oh
Absolutely.
my God, yeah.
I mean, that again, it's any career. Like,
Yes.
there's got to be that leader that people can turn to.
Yes.
Maybe you're not that leader. Maybe you're just the bass player, which a very important part of the whole process. Everybody's got a valuable role. So maybe you're the bass player, hypothetically, or maybe you're the assistant.
Bass player, what would that be in football? That would be defensive also, or offensive. That would be the person, that would be the blind. Who does protect the blind side?
I mean, that would be offensive line. That would be the tackle, the left tackle.
The left tackle, right? The bassist, right?
That's the bass. I mean, okay.
Do we put the keyboard player as a cheerleader? No, just kidding. No, just what would the cheerleader be? But yeah,
No,
because everybody has a role.
everybody has a role. Everybody's valuable.
Yes.
But there's there's a band set up in a way, and like, drums are the center focus. It's the main rhythm.
Right.
Usually we're running tracks if there's tracks,
Yep.
or we're keeping time. We're having
Yep.
the tempos. We're doing the transitions between songs.
Yes.
So very much it's the quarterback of a band. I mean, I'm sure there's people that disagree. Lead singers especially be like, well, I'm the lead singer. I'm the quarterback.
You're the wide receiver. I
You
keep
get all
telling,
the fame and glory.
yeah, I
and-
keep telling like a singer came up to me and actually said, Zach, he was like, no, I'm the quarterback of my band. I disagree because someone's got to throw you the ball, man.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. Yeah. Who's throwing you the ball? Oh, yeah. This guy.
like 1, 2, 3, 4. Like
Right.
even the next song. Even the next song, who decides? Like if the singer looks at us and we're like, huh?
Yeah.
There goes the momentum of
Yeah,
the show and all
right.
that stuff. Yeah.
Or if the tempo's wrong, if it's too slow or too fast,
Yep.
train's coming off the tracks.
Yep. That's like throwing the ball the wrong way. Oh,
Yeah.
he went left. Oh.
Interception.
Uh-huh.
Well, what are you going to do? Fumble.
Yep.
Good for us. Good for us for being drummers.
Okay. So there's you as a drummer. There's you as a you're not would it be better to say personal development coach or career coach? What would you rather be?
Oh, I don't know. I use that term because it's maybe something people can relate to. I just like being able to use my experiences to motivate and inspire people, for sure.
Like what you're doing us here in the studio right now.
Hopefully, right? I mean, I don't think I'm more right than anybody else. I just use my own personal experiences and how I conduct myself in the real world in my life to be like, listen, this is a way you can do it. This is,
Right.
am I, more, am I super famous? No, not at all. But am I working towards that? Absolutely. And in my mind, and will I get there? Absolutely. And am I the best person every day? 100%. I don't ever treat anybody with disrespect. I try my hardest every day. And with that in mind, like, you can't do wrong, and it's not saying I don't have setbacks or have bad days. Absolutely.
What do you do with bad days?
What I do with bad days? I don't have bad days. I probably have bad hours. I don't let myself reel. I don't have that gene. I won't let myself reel and go into my mind.
So how do you smack yourself mentally when you're having a bad hour?
There's a part of, like, usually if I'm feeling really bad or something terrible happens, I'll let myself grieve or process for a little bit, but I'm aware of it. I'm going, okay, it's been a couple hours. I feel like crap. I'm not going to help anybody around me right now. I'm not being productive. Me just sitting in my own sorrow is not helping me long term. So, I mean, I'll go do something that I'll go watch. I love movies, so I'll go watch a movie. I'll watch a comedy that I know is going to get me out of it, or I'll eat some food that I love, or I'll go have a drink. Actually, it's not true. I don't like drinking if I'm in a bad mood. I won't ever have a drink. I only drink to enhance my mood. So
Captain Midnight doesn't come out.
Captain Midnight won't come out unless he's in a good mood. He's very happy.
Okay.
So, like, if I'm having a bad day, I actually won't drink alcohol. Just because I think that enhances whatever mood you're in. So if you're in a negative mood, I think it brings you darker. So that's actually not true. And that's good advice. Drink to enhance your mood. If you're in a bad mood, you should not drink. If you're in a good mood, it's only going to make things happier and more fun for me. So I lost my train of thought.
No, that's it. Bad hour. How to get out of that?
Just use things that, like, bring happiness. Go outside, go give my dog a hug, or ask for a hug. Like, I'll go up to Kim, I'll be like, can I just have a hug? You should not be ever too proud to go up to somebody and be like, hey, or call a friend and be like,
Right.
hey, bud, like, this happened. I'm in a rut. Can you just, can we just go hang out or just talk to me?
I was going to ask you about that because that's vulnerability, and men have this preconceived notion that, oh, I can't show vulnerability. I mean, that's not how men are. But the way I'm hearing what you're saying is that it's okay to be vulnerable to people that you care. And
yeah, I mean, I'm from Wisconsin, where, men are men, and
Yeah,
vulnerability is not something that, like, that's sometimes viewed as a weakness. And as are other parts of, specific neighborhoods and parts of the country, like, vulnerability is a weakness in
Right.
most people's eyes. I don't view it as that way. I view it as like, again, I can't.
By the way, I agree with you on that.
Do you?
Yeah, big time. Because I think it takes real men to admit that they're not in a good place right now. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and
it takes guts.
It's guts,
Yeah.
and it's especially important to admit when you're wrong.
Yes.
Which is, I mean, that's hard for anybody to admit when they're wrong. But if you can do that and come through, even if it takes you a minute to be like,
The process.
okay, I'm wrong. I'm sorry. I'm gonna work next
Yeah.
time to be better at this, and and that's good for relationships. Everybody has to deal with their significant other,
Right.
if they're lucky enough to have one, and going through that kind of scenario with it's in the heat of an argument or something, like both sides would be like, oh, F you or F you and blah blah blah, and we're storming off to the bedroom. But then it's being able to come back together and be like, okay, let's work through this. I probably wasn't right in this way, and hopefully you can admit that you weren't right in that way.
Someone goes, I wasn't right in this way, and damn right you're not right.
Yeah, right. I mean, sometimes that's but
It's like, wait.
yeah,
I'm just kidding.
yeah. No, I know.
Happened to me. Hi, baby. I'm just
Yeah.
kidding.
Hey, Kim. Just kidding. You're always right. Yeah. No.
Advice to kids. We talked about entitlement, but I want to land it here. Advice not only to kids, but people who always have excuses of why they couldn't take the next step or why they couldn't experience any breakthrough in their lives. What advice can you give them?
People with excuses. That's a hard one to break through to, in my experience. When people just keep continually making excuses and pushing blame on other people, that is the hardest type of person to break through to, in my experience. And really, the advice that rings truest to me is
Advice to them and their friends, huh?
I mean, really, it's the people around. Like,
The people around them.
so it's hard to give them advice. I've never been able to give good advice to somebody like that that isn't willing to accept it. It's really difficult. Like, that somebody just pushes blame on everybody else. Because, I mean, they don't, they're doing it. It's a coping mechanism,
Yeah.
usually. And it's hard to get through to them. So it's more of a gang mentality that I've had luck with, is being like, okay, listen, Charlie's he's pushing blame off again. He's going down this dark hole and he keeps blaming everybody, and he's struggling in his career and his life, and we're all mad at him. It's going to be rough. I mean, it's intervention, basically. You have
Right.
to, I mean, it's not as formal as that, but like, it has to come from multiple people for somebody to realize, and they're probably going to rebel at that initial point of contact. They'd be like, no, what are you guys talking about? Like, that happened because of that guy. And it takes sometimes more than one individual to break through to somebody like that.
Sure.
That's the only success that I've had, is kind of find some shared friends or family members and
Yeah.
and I mean,
Oh
and
my
it's
God.
it's intervention, and that's the word for it. If I
You
had
know
to
what?
pick
Oh
it.
my God. Now that you mentioned that, it's true. It has to be more of like a gang kind of thing, because if one person in that gang suddenly empathizes with Charlie and says, oh, there's nothing wrong with Charlie, everything's out the window.
And then Charlie's validated by that
You're
one
right.
person. Yeah.
It only takes one.
Just takes one. Yeah, and there are those people out there that they're just gonna be like, "Oh, I love Charlie," or maybe I don't want to make Charlie mad, or so and that person can't be a part of it. It has to
Yes.
be a united front
Yes.
of people that have the similar understanding
Yep.
and see the same problems. So individually, I can't do anything in that case. Never had luck with it, but have I brought in friends, or like even in personal relationships with women, for me. That's the only way sometimes I've been able to break through and make progress. And even in that, is be like bringing in some of their friends and be like,
Yeah.
so this is what I'm going through. Want to get your opinion on it. Do you see this sometimes as well? And they're like, actually, yeah, I do see that. And then we're like, when we're hanging out, we'll just go have dinner and just casually bring it up and be like, hey, so we've all noticed this. And instantly that that door slams shut on people. They go into defense mode.
Oh, yeah.
You just have to anticipate that's going to happen, but it's how you get around that wall that you can really help somebody. And it's tricky. It's not in those cases. It's very tricky. So there's not an easy way around it. You just know that you have to be there for them and have the support of their friends. And also, I mean, it's not bullying, but you have to be a little more aggressive with it.
Right.
In that, with that
firm, I guess firm,
firm gang mentality to help somebody, and it doesn't always work, but that's the best way to go about it.
Regrets in life.
Regrets in life.
Mr. St. John.
I don't really have. I live life about not having regrets. I'm a workaholic. I wish I went home to visit my mom more often, my family in Wisconsin. That would be the one thing. It's not a regret because they all know that I'm pursuing my career and my passion and my love in life. But yeah, I don't get home to Wisconsin nearly enough. Mom comes out here and visits from time to time, but if I had a regret, which is not, but I can see in the future, once, I already lost my father, so, but he was my biggest fan, and he knew I was out here doing what I had to do to do this, so that would be it. Yeah, more time, family, no matter who you are, your family that's it. Yeah, friends and family are what are going to be there for you, so it doesn't matter what you're doing. If you don't have that, you don't have anything. Yeah, well, health too, but friends and family. Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, Zak St. John. Woo! We'll post everything about Zak in the description, so just check the notes and please support all his projects. Let's make this happen, people.